also hear that the Switch 2 is going to be coming out in early. Did they say that? No, that's wrong. I thought I heard there was supposed to be an announcement soon. They were supposed to make an announcement. And they normally make their announcement in November. There's something about November with Nintendo. Like, they have to do a lot of big releases in November and big announcements in November. But anyways, I'm excited. You know, only thing I said was, don't mess it up, Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, they broke records and just, like, dominated with the Wii. And then they released the Wii U, and it flopped. And I think that largely has to do with the name, the Wii U. When the Wii came out, it just like, it showed like hotcakes, whatever that means, right? But it had like a bunch of really popular and also, yeah, a really popular name brand and off-brand like peripherals. So there was like a fit board, there was a tennis rack, there was all kinds of things, right? So when they released the Wii U, a lot of the public consumers just kind of thought it was another piece to the Wii, and they were like, I don't need a little tablet for my Wii, you know what I mean? But it was a whole new thing, and also it looked so much like the Wii. Also, it was almost like a smaller version. It's like what you would have expected them to do if they were going to make like a smaller Wii. Everything about that cycle was just crazy. And so it was interesting because like they made some of their best games in certain series during that like era, like that Mario Kart. That's the Mario Kart that's on Switch now. That Smash Brothers, that's the same Smash Brothers that's on Switch now. They brought over Zelda, like a lot of their in-house games, you know, made their leap over here, you know what I mean? And then had like huge success, you know what I mean? Like they did okay, they did good for the Wii, you know what I mean? But they didn't do good in general. But for the Wii U, or for the Wii, they did good for the Wii U, you know what I mean? For the best they could do, you know what I mean? They did well, but they overall, like, because there were so few, like they just didn't really, you know. So, but now they're like, you know what I mean? Like they're back on top. But I think they were saying the Switch might overtake the PS2 as the best-selling game console of all time. And I'm rooting for them. I really want them to do it. Time will tell, though. But, you know, all you need to do is just call it Switch 2. It's pretty obvious that there's a 1, there's a 2. Just do it. You know what I mean? Nintendo has this thing where they don't want to add numbers into the thing. Or they want to, like, radically change it, right? So you had Nintendo, and then you had Super Nintendo. And so that was a pretty obvious jump, you know what I mean? Super Nintendo and Super Nintendo, you can tell that's a follow-up, right? And so then there was the N64. Well, that's obviously its own thing because the whole dang name is different, you know what I mean? And I forget what 64 meant. I think it meant like 64-bit or something like that. I really don't remember. And then what was after the 64? Oh, there was the GameCube, right? So Super Nintendo and 64, GameCube, radically different in terms of just the name. I mean, obviously you want the systems to be radically different, but I mean, even in that aspect, that's kind of different because, like, you know, Xbox and PlayStation, like, their designs aren't like crazy away from what they were like when they first hit the scene. You know what I mean? Like, they're square. So, you know, and various, you know, accents and curves and stuff like that, right? But, you know, Nintendo has made like a literal box. They made like a flat, like the N64. I don't know how you would even describe that. And then you have what, the Wii, which everything about the Wii was just kind of, you know what I mean? And then you had the Wii U. And so it was just really interesting that they chose to kind of expand on that name without a 2. If they had said Wii 2, it would have been huge. It would have been gigantic. But they chose Wii U. So, and that, like, that that was such a sad era. But anyways, they have a chance, you know what I mean, to like keep the momentum of the Switch. And all, because I don't like, typically for people who are like super into Nintendo, graphics aren't a priority, you know what I mean, because the games in themselves are going to be really fun, and a lot of it's first party that you really like, a lot of it is first party that you end up liking anyways. So a lot of us first party that you end up liking anyways. But then a whole lot of really interesting things kind of come along once like the developers see what they can do. But it's like, anyways, what the point is that, you know, traditionally speaking, like they haven't focused on graphics because they know their audience doesn't necessarily want the graphics, you know what I mean? Like, it would be nice, but like at the end of the day, we want a fun experience that's enjoyable, and that's what Nintendo delivers, I think, well beyond that of Xbox and PlayStation. And so this time though, you know, I want them to at least put the power of like a PlayStation 4 into this. So I wouldn't mind, basically, I wouldn't mind the new console they release to have last gen specs. Because the Switch, it definitely was not last gen specs. It had, I mean, it was barely the gen before that specs. Because, you know, I believe, yeah, the PS3 is stronger than the Switch. Yeah, by quite a bit too. And it's just like, there's so many games that should be on the Switch that just seem like they were designed for the Switch. Like the essence, the vibe, it's so Switch. But the Switch just can't, it's just not strong enough to hold it. Certain games. And so, I hope I did a lot of like useless rambling in this video.